Security! Someone let the waiter into the guest area again. Catherine Sterling's voice sliced through the charity gala. She pointed at Vivian Montgomery, who stood quietly in a simple black dress. Richard Sterling III snapped his fingers. Toilets need cleaning upstairs, honey. Madison Sterling grabbed her phone, live streaming. OMG! Some woman crashed our gala. She looks like she works at McDonald's. Preston Sterling smirked. Ma'am, your white employer's probably in the VIP section. Catherine waved her hands dismissively. Shoo, shoo. Other guests turned to stare. Phones emerged. The Sterling family, worth $2.8 billion, formed a circle around Vivian like she was a zoo exhibit. Vivian's black clutch remained closed. Her expression stayed calm. Richard stepped closer. Miss, I'll pay for your taxi home. Here's $20. He waved cash in her face. Have you ever been judged so completely that people couldn't see your true power until it was too late? The ballroom clock showed 8:35 p.m., 10 minutes until donor recognition. Catherine Sterling adjusted her pearl necklace, addressing the growing crowd. I can smell the bus fare on her from here. Madison's phone screen lit up. Live with 127 viewers. Comments flooded in real time. This is literally so embarrassing for her. Like, doesn't she have a mirror? Madison narrated to her camera. Chat, should I call the police? She's obviously here to steal something. The live stream count climbed. 147, 203, 289 viewers. Richard Sterling pulled out his wallet theatrically. Miss, here's $40. Take a taxi back to wherever you came from. He waved the bills inches from Vivian's face. Several guests laughed. Dad, that's too generous, Preston chimed in. Bus fare's only $3.50. Catherine turned to her circle of friends. Ladies, please secure your purses. You never know with these people. Mrs. Whitman clutched her Hermes bag. Should we move to the VIP section? Excellent idea, Catherine replied loudly. We can't be too careful these days. Vivian remained motionless. Her black clutch stayed closed. Madison's viewer count hit 347. Look at those bargain clothes. I spend more on my morning coffee than her entire outfit. Comments scrolled. Why won't someone remove her? So cringe. Call security. Preston stepped forward, enjoying the audience. Lady, this isn't a Section 8 housing meeting. More laughter rippled through the crowd. I bet she saw charity and thought they would give you money, he continued. Common mistake. Richard checked his Rolex. 8 minutes until the real program starts. Can we handle this situation? A hotel security guard approached hesitantly. Is there a problem here? Yes, Catherine declared. This woman needs to be escorted to the service entrance. The guard looked uncomfortable. Something about Vivian's composure seemed off. Ma'am, he said gently, do you have an invitation? Before Vivian could respond, Madison interrupted. Of course she doesn't. Look at her. The live stream now showed 423 viewers. Madison read comments aloud. Someone says, welfare queen vibes. OMG, yes. Catherine leaned toward her society friends. I'm genuinely curious what made her think she belonged here. Perhaps she saw it on social media, Mrs. Blackwood suggested. These people love free events. I suppose public education doesn't teach proper social boundaries, Catherine mused. Preston pulled out his own phone, recording. Should we all take a selfie? Diversity night gone wrong? The family formed a tighter semicircle around Vivian. Phones emerged from every direction. Richard addressed the crowd like a ringmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what entitlement culture creates. Applause scattered through the ballroom. Madison's live stream peaked at 467 viewers. She's literally a living meme right now. This is going straight to TikTok. Vivian's phone buzzed silently in her clutch. The screen showed Forbes mobile alert. Catherine noticed the sound. Oh, wonderful, she has a phone. probably calling for backup. Or recording us for some lawsuit, Preston added. These people love playing victim. Richard stepped closer. Miss, I'm going to ask one final time. What's your angle here? Because if you think you can intimidate the Sterling family, he let the threat hang. The hotel manager, Derek Chen, appeared at the edge of the crowd. His expression grew concerned as he observed the scene. Madison continued her commentary. Chat wants me to ask her questions. Okay, lady, where did you even hear about this event? Vivian's silence only emboldened them further. Catherine raised her voice. You know what? I actually admire the commitment to this performance. Performance? Preston laughed. This is desperation. Maybe she's one of those activists trying to cause a scene, Richard suggested. What's next? Chanting? The security guard shifted nervously. Perhaps we should handle this privately. No, Catherine cut him off. This is educational. Everyone should see what happens when people don't know their place. Madison's phone showed 521 viewers. This woman just won't leave. It's giving me major secondhand embarrassment. Comments flooded faster. Just drag her out. This is painful to watch. Security is useless, Mrs. Whitman whispered loudly. I heard these charity events attract all types now. Diversity requirements, Catherine replied knowingly. But there are limits. Preston checked the time on his Apple Watch. 3 minutes until donor recognition. Can we wrap this up? Absolutely, Richard agreed. Miss, final offer. $50 cash and you leave quietly. He pulled out more bills, fanning them like playing cards. The crowd pressed closer, 20 phones recorded from different angles. Madison narrated breathlessly, You guys, this is insane. She's just standing there like she owns the place. Vivian's clutch remained perfectly still in her hands. Catherine made an exaggerated sigh. Well, I tried to be civilized. She turned to the security guard. Remove her, now. The ballroom speakers crackled. Ladies and gentlemen, donor recognition begins in 2 minutes. Richard smiled coldly. Perfect timing. We'll have this sorted before the real business begins. Madison's live stream hit 589 viewers. Chat, this is literally the most awkward thing I've ever witnessed. The family exchanged satisfied glances. Their public humiliation had been thorough and witnessed. What they didn't notice was Derek Chen quietly making a phone call in the corner, or the way Vivian's thumb had been resting on her clutch's clasp the entire time. The countdown continued. Donor recognition in 90 seconds. 90 seconds until donor recognition begins. The announcement echoed through the ballroom as Catherine Sterling's patience evaporated completely. Enough games, she declared, her voice carrying across the marble floor. Security, physically remove this woman, now. Derek Chen, the hotel manager, stepped forward cautiously. Mrs. Sterling, perhaps we should— Don't you dare question me, Catherine snapped. My family donated $3 million to renovate this hotel's West Wing. We practically own this place. Madison's live stream viewer count exploded. 634, 721, 856. You guys, this is getting insane. Security's about to drag her out. Comments poured in faster than she could read. Finally. About time. This is better than Netflix. Make her cry. Richard Sterling moved closer to Vivian, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. You picked the wrong family to mess with, sweetheart. We destroy people for breakfast. He gestured toward the ballroom's gilded walls. See all this? Sterling money built half of it. You're nothing here. Preston circled behind Vivian, cutting off potential escape routes. Dad, want me to call our lawyers? False entry, trespassing, attempted fraud? Brilliant idea, Catherine agreed. We'll make an example of her. Full prosecution. Mrs. Whitman pulled out her own phone, recording. This will teach others to know their place. Social media is so educational these days. Additional society wives joined the recording session. Mrs. Blackwood angled for the perfect shot. My followers will love this drama. The security guard, Miguel Santos, looked increasingly uncomfortable. 20 years of hotel experience had taught him to read people. Something about Vivian's absolute stillness bothered him deeply. Ma'am, he said quietly, if you could just come with me. Don't be gentle, Catherine interrupted sharply. She clearly doesn't understand polite requests. Use force if necessary. Madison zoomed her camera closer, narrating breathlessly. Chat, look at her face. She's literally frozen with embarrassment. This is so cringy. The live stream hit 943 viewers. TikTok notifications started pinging on other guests' phones as clips began circulating across platforms. Oh my God, Madison gasped, reading her comments section. Someone screen recorded this. It's already going viral on Twitter. Preston grinned maliciously, pulling up his Instagram. Perfect. Let the whole world see what happens to crashers. I'm posting this to my story. Richard pulled out his phone, scrolling through his contacts. I'm calling Channel 7 News. Marcus Rodriguez owes me a favor. They love these kinds of stories. Charity event disrupted by entitled woman, Catherine suggested as a headline. Or, welfare queen crashes billionaire gala. That'll get millions of clicks. The crowd grew larger as word spread through the ballroom. Conversations stopped. Dinner courses were abandoned. Everyone wanted to witness the spectacle. Vivian's phone buzzed again inside her clutch. The brief vibration was barely noticeable, but Miguel Santos caught it. Derek Chen tried once more, sweat beading on his forehead. Perhaps we could discuss this in my office. Absolutely not, Richard barked. This gets handled here, publicly. Everyone needs to witness consequences. It's educational. The ballroom's other guests formed a wider circle. Some looked uncomfortable, but most seemed thoroughly entertained. Phones emerged from every direction. 60 seconds until donor recognition. Catherine's eyes lit up with cruel inspiration. Perfect timing. We'll make her removal part of the evening's entertainment program. She grabbed the nearest microphone from a passing server. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The ballroom quieted as all eyes turned toward the Sterling family's circle. Crystal glasses stopped clinking. Conversations ceased entirely. We have an uninvited guest who refuses to leave appropriately, Catherine announced with theatrical flair. Security will now demonstrate how we handle such unfortunate situations. Scattered applause erupted from the crowd. Someone whistled approvingly. Madison's live stream viewer count soared past 1,100. OMG, you guys! My mom is making this a public announcement. This is insane! Preston stepped forward, playing to the audience like a seasoned performer. This is what happens when people try to take advantage of charity and kindness. More applause. Someone shouted, Good for you, Sterling family! Another voice called, Show her the door! Miguel Santos hesitated, his hand hovering near Vivian's arm. His instincts screamed that something was very wrong with this entire situation. Ma'am, he whispered urgently, please just walk with me. Make this easy for both of us. Vivian spoke for the first time, her voice barely audible but crystal clear. In 30 seconds, everything changes. Miguel froze. There was something in her tone, not desperation or fear, but absolute certainty. Richard noticed the guard's hesitation. What's the problem here? Remove her immediately. She won't budge, Miguel lied, desperately buying time while his mind raced. Catherine rolled her eyes dramatically. Then carry her out bodily. We have important guests waiting for recognition. The crowd pressed closer. 20 phones captured every angle. The Sterling family's humiliation campaign was being documented from multiple perspectives. Madison's comments section exploded. Why is security taking so long? Just drag her. This is painful to watch. Call the police. 30 seconds until donor recognition begins. Derek Chen made another quiet phone call, stepping behind a marble pillar. His conversation was urgent, but inaudible. His face grew increasingly pale. Mrs. Blackwood leaned toward Catherine conspiratorially. "Should we call the police? Make this a proper arrest? Think of the publicity." "Excellent thinking," Catherine replied loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Preston, call 911, file formal trespassing charges." Preston dialed enthusiastically, putting the call on speaker. "Hello, police? We need someone arrested at the Meridian Hotel for criminal trespassing." Vivian's clutch moved slightly in her hands. Her thumb traced the clasp's edge with deliberate precision. Richard addressed the crowd like a seasoned politician. "This is exactly what's wrong with society today. People think they're entitled to things they haven't earned through hard work." Vigorous nodding rippled throughout the ballroom. Murmurs of agreement followed. Madison's live stream peaked at 1,247 viewers. "Chat! The police are coming! This woman is about to get arrested on live television!" Miguel Santos glanced nervously at Derek Chen, who was ending his phone call with an expression of pure terror. 15 seconds until donor recognition." Catherine raised the microphone again triumphantly. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our evening's major donors to the stage." She stopped mid-sentence. Derek Chen was walking rapidly toward their circle, his face deadly serious. "What is it?" Richard demanded impatiently. "We're in the middle of something extremely important here." Derek whispered urgently in Richard's ear. Richard's expression shifted from annoyance to confusion to dawning horror. "That can't be right," Richard muttered, his voice shaking. 10 seconds until donor recognition begins." Madison caught the exchange on camera. "Something's happening. The hotel manager looks absolutely freaked out." Preston ended his police call confidently. "They're sending a unit. Should be here in 5 minutes to arrest her." Catherine grabbed Derek's arm roughly. "What did you just tell my husband? Speak up." Derek glanced nervously at Vivian, who remained perfectly still, her expression unchanged. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ballroom speakers crackled to life. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our evening's lead donor and honored guest." Catherine smiled triumphantly, raising the microphone to announce the Sterling family's generous contribution. Ms. Vivian Montgomery, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Montgomery Enterprises. The microphone slipped from Catherine's hand, crashing to the marble floor with a deafening metallic screech. Madison's phone nearly dropped from her trembling fingers. "Wait, what did they just say?" The ballroom fell into absolute, suffocating silence. 1,267 viewers watched Madison's live stream as her family's faces drained of every trace of color. Preston's mouth hung open like a fish gasping for air. "Did they just say Montgomery?" Richard stared at Vivian with dawning, paralyzing horror. No, that's impossible." "No, that's—" Catherine's legs wobbled dangerously. She can't be—" Derek Chen stepped forward with professional composure. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the confusion. Ms. Montgomery, your VIP table is prepared." Vivian's clutch finally opened with a soft, deliberate click. The sound echoed through the silent ballroom like a gunshot. The silence stretched across the ballroom like a funeral shroud. 200 guests held their breath. Phones remained frozen mid-recording. From Vivian's opened clutch emerged a single, pristine business card. She handed it to Richard Sterling with the same calm precision she'd maintained throughout their 20-minute assault. Richard's hands trembled as he read the embossed text. His face transformed from confusion to recognition to absolute terror. "Vivian C. Montgomery, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Montgomery Enterprises," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the ballroom's air conditioning. Catherine snatched the card from his shaking fingers, her diamond rings catching the chandelier light. That's impossible. This has to be fake. Some kind of scam." She studied the card desperately, searching for any sign of forgery. The platinum-embossed letterhead gleamed under the crystal chandeliers. The paper quality was unmistakable, 120-gram cardstock, the kind only Fortune 500 companies used for executive communications. Madison's live stream continued recording, her phone shaking violently in her manicured hands. "Wait, chat, what's happening? Why does my dad look like he's having a heart attack?" The viewer count had exploded exponentially, 1,489, 1,612, 1,734 people. Comments flooded faster than anyone could read. "Who is Montgomery? Why are they freaking out? Google her name now! This is getting crazy!" Preston grabbed his phone with desperate urgency, frantically typing with trembling thumbs. Montgomery Enterprises, Montgomery Enterprises. His face went ashen as Google results populated his screen. Forbes articles, SEC filings, stock reports, all confirming his worst nightmare. "Dad, this says Montgomery Enterprises is worth $8.4 billion, he stammered, his voice cracking like a teenager's. "That can't be right," Catherine whispered, still clutching the business card like a drowning woman grabs driftwood. "It gets worse," Preston continued, scrolling through Wikipedia with morbid fascination. "Montgomery Enterprises owns 67% of Sterling Development." The words hit the family like physical blows. Catherine gasped audibly. Richard's face turned gray. Madison's phone nearly slipped from her nerveless fingers. Richard's legs buckled beneath him. He grabbed a nearby chair for support, his $50,000 Rolex sliding down his wrist. No, that's not. We would have known. Our lawyers would have told us." Derek Chen stepped forward diplomatically, his hotel manager training kicking in. "Mr. Sterling, Ms. Montgomery has been your company's majority shareholder for 3 years, since the December 2022 acquisition." "The acquisition," Catherine breathed, memory crashing over her like a tsunami. "When we needed capital for the Miami project." The devastating recollection flooded back. During their company's worst financial crisis, when construction loans were being called in and bankruptcy loomed, a mysterious investment firm had purchased controlling interest. The paperwork had been handled entirely by lawyers in Manhattan offices. They'd never met the actual buyer. They'd been so grateful for the salvation, they'd never questioned the source. Madison's phone buzzed incessantly with notifications. Her viewers were Googling in real time, sharing results in the comments section faster than she could process. "OMG, Montgomery Enterprises owns Sterling Development. This family just humiliated their own boss. She literally controls their company. This is the most epic karma ever filmed. Screenshot everything. This is history." Other guests pulled out their phones, frantically Googling. Whispers rippled through the crowd as the truth spread like wildfire. Vivian spoke again, her voice cutting through their panic like surgical steel. "I believe you were expecting me for our contract renewal meeting at 9 p.m. Richard's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. The contract renewal, the $1.2 billion infrastructure deal they'd been negotiating for 8 months. Their company's survival depended entirely on that signature. "Ms. Montgomery," he finally managed, his voice barely a whisper. "There's been a terrible, terrible misunderstanding." "Has there?" Vivian's tone remained perfectly even, professionally detached. "Let me recap the last 15 minutes for clarity." She reached into her clutch again, producing a slim tablet device. With precise taps, she pulled up a voice recording application with timestamp details. "At 8:35 p.m., you called me the help and offered me toilet cleaning employment at $20 per hour. Richard's own voice played back through the tablet's high-quality speaker, every cruel word crystal clear in the acoustically perfect ballroom. Several guests stepped backward, suddenly realizing they'd been complicit witnesses to corporate suicide. "At 8:37 p.m., your wife suggested I smelled like bus fare and instructed other guests to secure their purses in my presence." Catherine's venomous words echoed through the silent ballroom. Her society friends exchanged horrified glances, stepping away from her like she carried a contagious disease. Mrs. Whitman deleted her own recording, pretending she'd never filmed anything. At 8:39 p.m., your daughter live-streamed to approximately 1,500 viewers, describing me as a welfare queen who works at McDonald's and suggested calling immigration services. Madison's own voice betrayed her, amplified and undeniable. Her live-stream comments section erupted in real time. She recorded everything! Receipts! They're so screwed! Lawsuit incoming! Her follower count was dropping rapidly. 2.1M, 2.0M, 1.9M. Brand partnerships were being terminated in real time. At 8:42 p.m., your son suggested I was a gold digger seeking wealthy husbands and questioned my citizenship status, despite my obvious American accent. Preston's crude commentary played back in crystal-clear audio. He looked physically ill, his face green under the ballroom's warm lighting. Derek Chen watched the family's systematic destruction with professional detachment. Hotel security cameras had captured everything from multiple angles, but Vivian's personal recording was devastating legal evidence. Furthermore, Vivian continued, pulling up her smartphone, your daughter's live stream has been screen recorded by 47 viewers and counting. Each recording has been shared across multiple social media platforms. Madison's viewer count now showed 1,934 people. The live recording had gone viral across TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook simultaneously. Current social media analytics show TikTok mentions of Sterling family racist have increased 3,400% in the last 8 minutes. Vivian read from her phone's real-time monitoring app. Twitter hashtag #Sterling. Shame is trending in 7 cities. Instagram stories mentioning your family have increased 2,100%. Catherine collapsed into a gilded chair, her pearls clicking against the table edge. This can't be happening. This can't be real. Please tell me this is some kind of nightmare. It becomes more legally complex, Vivian said, swiping to another screen. Your son called the police at 8:44 p.m., filing false criminal charges against your company's majority owner. Preston's recorded voice played back. We need someone arrested for criminal trespassing at the Meridian Hotel. She's obviously here to steal something. The irony was devastating and legally actionable. They'd attempted to have their own boss arrested on fabricated charges with dozens of witnesses and video evidence. Richard found his voice, desperate and pleading like a man facing execution. Vivian, Ms. Montgomery, please, we can fix this. Public apology, charitable donations, sensitivity training, whatever you want. Can you fix it? Vivian asked rhetorically. Your daughter's video has been shared to Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. The Sterling family name is now permanently associated with this documented behavior. Madison was sobbing openly, watching her entire social media empire crumble in real time. Her phone showed notification after notification. Brand partnership terminated. Sponsorship agreement canceled. Influencer contract voided effective immediately. Fashion Nova, terminated. Revolve, canceled. Daniel Wellington, contract voided. Her $1 million influencer career was evaporating by the minute. Mrs. Whitman and Mrs. Blackwood had quietly moved to the opposite side of the ballroom, deleting their own recordings and hoping to avoid guilt by association. The business implications are significantly more severe, Vivian continued with clinical precision. Sterling Development's reputation directly affects Montgomery Enterprises' portfolio value and brand integrity. She pulled up another document on her tablet, scrolling through legal text with practiced efficiency. Our current contracts include specific ethics and morality clauses. Richard's eyes widened in genuine horror. The ethics clauses. Oh God, the ethics clauses. Section 12.4 specifically addresses discriminatory behavior by company officers, board members, and their immediate family members, Vivian read aloud. Violation triggers immediate contract review and potential termination with cause. The ballroom remained frozen in absolute silence. Every guest understood they were witnessing a corporate execution broadcast live to nearly 2,000 viewers. Our combined contracts are worth $2.4 billion annually to Sterling Development, Vivian stated matter-of-factly. That represents 89% of your company's total revenue and employs 847 people across 6 states. Catherine was hyperventilating, clutching her chest. Please don't destroy 847 families over our one terrible mistake. One mistake? Vivian repeated, her eyebrows raising slightly. Let's examine the documented pattern of behavior. She scrolled through her tablet with methodical precision. Hotel incident reports show similar discriminatory behavior at the Ritz-Carlton Boston in March 2023, the Plaza New York in September 2022, the Waldorf Astoria in June 2021. Derek Chen nodded confirmation, pulling up his own records. We maintain industry databases, Ms. Montgomery. This isn't their first documented offense. The Sterling family's pattern of racist behavior had been systematically documented across multiple luxury venues over 3 years. They'd simply never faced consequences before because victims couldn't retaliate. Additionally, Vivian continued, accessing social media archives, your son's Twitter history shows 23 discriminatory posts over 2 years. Your daughter's influencer content frequently mocks service workers, calling them the help and making jokes about ghetto behavior. Preston and Madison exchanged panicked glances. Their entire online presence had become evidence in their own corporate trial. Miguel Santos, the security guard, finally found his voice. Ma'am, I sincerely apologize for my role in this situation. I should have recognized you immediately. You were following direct orders from hotel guests, Vivian replied graciously. The fault lies entirely with those who gave discriminatory instructions. Her grace toward the working-class employee while systematically devastating the billionaire family was a masterful demonstration of character and power. Madison's live stream had reached 1,987 viewers. Comments were absolutely ruthless. This family is finished forever. Justice served cold. She's professionally destroying them. Someone call the FBI. The question now, Vivian said, returning to her tablet's contract documents, is whether Sterling Development can continue operating under Montgomery Enterprises' corporate umbrella. Richard fell to his knees on the marble floor, literally, in front of 1,987 live stream viewers and 200 horrified ballroom guests. Please, he begged, his $5,000 suit wrinkled against the cold marble. 847 employees and their families depend on those contracts. Don't punish innocent people for our unforgivable stupidity. I'm not punishing anyone, Vivian corrected with devastating precision. I'm making a fiduciary business decision based on corporate values alignment and risk management. She pulled up a final document, the contract renewal agreement they'd been negotiating for months. This $2.4 billion contract requires my signature by 11:59 p.m. tonight, she explained. As of 8:52 p.m., I'm conducting a comprehensive review of our business partnership. The timestamp was devastating. They had exactly 3 hours and 7 minutes to save their company, their fortune, and their family legacy. Catherine looked up from her chair, mascara streaked down her cheeks like black tears. What would it take? Please, tell us what it would take. Vivian's thumb hovered over her tablet screen. One digital signature could save them. One tap could destroy the Sterling family forever. The ballroom held its collective breath. Madison's live stream viewer count hit 2,034 people, all watching to see if a black woman would show mercy to the white billionaire family who'd spent 20 minutes trying to systematically humiliate her. We'll discuss terms and conditions, Vivian said finally, her voice carrying the weight of absolute power. But first, you owe sincere apologies to several people. She gestured toward Miguel Santos, Derek Chen, and the hotel staff who'd witnessed their abusive behavior. And, she added, glancing meaningfully at Madison's still-recording phone. Your daughter's 2,034 viewers deserve to hear the complete truth about what happened here tonight. The Sterling family's reckoning had only just begun. Vivian checked her phone, 9:07 p.m., 2 hours, 53 minutes until contract expiration. Let's discuss the financial realities, she said, pulling up spreadsheets on her tablet. Montgomery Enterprises, $8.4 billion annual revenue, operating across 23 countries. The numbers appeared crisp and undeniable on her screen. Richard Sterling remained on his knees, his pride shattered along with his company's future. Sterling Development, $2.7 billion annual revenue, 89% dependent on Montgomery contracts, Vivian continued. Current projects: Miami Waterfront Development, $847 million. Chicago Residential Complex, $623 million. Atlanta Commercial District, $412 million. Catherine wiped her mascara-stained cheeks. Those projects employ thousands of people, exactly 2,847 construction workers, 156 engineers, 89 architects, and 344 administrative staff, Vivian said without checking notes. I know every employee by name and social security number. The precision was terrifying. She wasn't just their boss, she knew their entire operation intimately. Madison's live stream had stabilized at 2,100 viewers. Comments kept flooding. She knows everything. This is insane. The Sterling family is finished. Let's examine the legal framework, Vivian said, swiping to another document. Section 12.4 of our partnership agreement, signed December 15, 2022. She read aloud. Any discriminatory conduct by company officers, board members, or immediate family members constitutes material breach of contract, triggering immediate review and potential termination with cause. Preston's voice cracked. We didn't know about that clause. Your lawyers reviewed every line, Derek Chen interjected. I have the signed acknowledgments. Richard's desperation peaked. Vivian, please. We'll do anything. Public apology, charitable donations, whatever you demand. Interesting proposal, Vivian replied. Let's establish precise terms. She pulled up a contract template on her tablet, typing rapidly. Richard Sterling. Immediate resignation as CEO, effective tonight. What? Richard gasped. But the company needs leadership. Montgomery Enterprises will appoint interim management, Vivian cut him off. Your resignation will be announced tomorrow morning, citing health reasons to preserve shareholder confidence. The live stream comments exploded. He's getting fired! By his own employee! This is justice! Catherine Sterling. Resignation from all charity board positions within 72 hours. Catherine's face crumpled. Those positions are my life's work. Your discriminatory behavior makes you a liability to every organization, Vivian stated flatly. Your presence damages their reputations. Madison was crying harder, watching her mother's social status evaporate in real time. Madison Sterling, immediate deletion of all social media accounts. 6-month ban from any public platforms. My career, Madison wailed. I have 1.8 million followers. 1.6 million and dropping, Vivian corrected, checking her phone. Brand partnerships are terminating by the minute. Indeed, Madison's phone buzzed constantly with cancellation emails. Sephora, terminated. Fashion. Nova, canceled. Daniel Wellington, contract voided. Preston Sterling, termination from VP position, effective immediately, 1-year probationary period before rehiring consideration. Preston's entitled world collapsed. I need that job. My lifestyle, my apartment, my car payments. Your trust fund remains frozen pending behavioral modification, Vivian added. 6 months of community service in underserved communities. The Sterling family sat in stunned silence as their privileged lives disintegrated clause by clause. Financial reparations, Vivian continued typing. $50 million donation to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund within 30 days. Richard's face went white. 50 million? That's our entire liquidity reserve. The penalty for attempting to humiliate your company's majority owner, Vivian replied. Consider it a bargain. Madison's live stream viewers were sharing screenshots across social media. Hashtag Sterling downfall was trending globally. Corporate restructuring requirements, Vivian read from her growing list. Sterling Development's Board of Directors, 60% diverse representation within 18 months. That's impossible, Catherine protested. We don't know enough qualified candidates. Montgomery Enterprises maintains a database of 1,247 qualified minority executives, Vivian interrupted. Your hiring problem is solved. The efficiency was devastating. She'd anticipated every objection. Mandatory bias training for all Sterling family members, 40 hours annually, administered by independent consultants. 40 hours? Preston whined. That's like a whole work week. Your education clearly requires significant improvement, Vivian observed dryly. Derek Chen watched the proceedings with professional fascination. In 20 years of hotel management, he'd never witnessed such methodical corporate destruction. Anonymous discrimination reporting system, implemented within 60 days. Direct oversight by Montgomery Enterprises Ethics Department. Richard realized the scope of their punishment. You're taking complete control of our company. I already own 67% controlling interest, Vivian reminded him. I'm simply exercising existing authority. The live stream chat was moving too fast to read. She owns them. Total domination. Karma is real. Public accountability measures, Vivian continued. Each family member will record video apologies posted on Sterling Development's official website. Public humiliation, Catherine gasped. Our reputation will be ruined forever. Your reputation was ruined the moment Madison hit go live, Vivian pointed out. This provides an opportunity for redemption. Madison's phone showed 1.4 million followers and falling. Her influencer career was effectively over. Legal compliance requirements, Vivian read. Sterling Development will fund a $100 million scholarship program for underrepresented students in business and engineering. The family exchanged desperate glances. Their personal fortune was being systematically redistributed. Timeline for implementation. All requirements must be completed within 90 days, Vivian concluded. Failure to comply triggers complete contract termination. She looked up from her tablet. Total cost of compliance? Approximately $180 million in direct payments, plus ongoing operational changes. Richard's mental calculations were devastating. That's half our net worth. The alternative is losing 89% of your revenue stream, Vivian noted. Basic mathematics suggests compliance is financially advantageous. Miguel Santos, still standing nearby, whispered to Derek Chen, She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Montgomery Enterprises' legal department has prepared all necessary documentation, Vivian said, pulling up email attachments. The signature deadline remains 11:59 p.m. tonight. She checked her phone. 9:23 p.m. 2 hours, 36 minutes remaining. I need to consult with our lawyers, Richard said desperately. Your lawyers are already reviewing documents, Vivian replied. I sent them copies 15 minutes ago. The Sterling family realized she'd been planning this systematic dismantling throughout their entire humiliation campaign. Madison's live stream had captured everything. 2,156 viewers had witnessed a masterclass in corporate power dynamics. One final consideration, Vivian said, her voice carrying absolute authority. This agreement includes a morality clause covering future behavior. What kind of clause? Catherine asked fearfully. Any subsequent discriminatory behavior by any Sterling family member triggers immediate contract termination with no appeal process. The threat was crystal clear. One more racist incident would destroy them permanently. Preston's voice shook. How long does this oversight last? Indefinitely, Vivian replied. Racism isn't a temporary problem requiring temporary solutions. Richard looked at his family's tear-stained faces. His wife's social status was gone. His daughter's career was finished. His son's trust fund was frozen. Their company hung by a thread. "Do we have a choice?" he asked quietly. Vivian's finger hovered over her tablet's signature field. "There's always a choice, Mr. Sterling. You can accept accountability for your actions or face the consequences of refusing." Madison's live stream comments were unanimous. "Sign it! Take the deal! You're lucky she's being merciful." The ballroom remained silent except for Catherine's quiet sobbing. "I need your decision now," Vivian said, checking the time. "Other business requires my attention." Richard Sterling, former billionaire patriarch, looked up from his knees at the black woman who now controlled his family's destiny. "We'll sign," he whispered. "We'll sign everything." Vivian's tablet chimed softly as she input the final terms. The Sterling family's reckoning was complete. 3 months later, the transformation was complete. Richard Sterling's resignation had made headlines in Forbes, Bloomberg, and the Wall Street Journal. The official statement cited health concerns, but everyone knew the truth. Madison's viral live stream had been viewed 47 million times across all platforms. At Montgomery Enterprises headquarters, Vivian reviewed the compliance reports on her desk. Every requirement had been met ahead of schedule. The Sterling family's $50 million donation to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund had funded 847 scholarships for minority law students. The $100 million education program had already awarded grants to 200 underrepresented students across 6 universities. Sterling Development's board now included Dr. Amara Johnson, former Tesla VP, Marcus Williams, ex-Goldman Sachs director, and Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, MIT engineering dean. The company's culture had shifted dramatically under diverse leadership. Derek Chen had been promoted to regional hotel manager after his professional handling of the situation. Miguel Santos received commendation and a raise for his discretion during the crisis. Madison Sterling had completed her social media ban. Her return video, a genuine apology filmed at a community center where she'd volunteered for 6 months, had received mixed reactions. Some forgave her, others remained skeptical. "I was raised with privilege that blinded me to others' humanity," she'd said in the video. "My behavior that night was inexcusable. I'm learning to be better." Her follower count stabilized at 400,000, mostly people interested in her redemption journey. Brand partnerships remained limited, but she'd found purpose in advocacy work. Preston Sterling had spent 6 months working construction alongside the same crews his family's company employed. The experience had humbled him completely. His trust fund remained frozen, but he'd earned his first honest paycheck in years. "I never understood what real work meant," he admitted to a documentary crew following the family's transformation. "These people I used to look down on taught me everything about dignity." Catherine Sterling's fall from society queen to social pariah had been swift and brutal. Country club memberships were revoked. Charity boards had unanimously voted her out. Former friends avoided her calls. But something unexpected had emerged from her isolation. Forced to examine her beliefs, she'd begun volunteering at a food bank in East Atlanta. The work was humbling and educational. "I spent 40 years surrounded by people who looked exactly like me," she reflected during court-mandated therapy sessions. "I never questioned my assumptions until I lost everything." The Sterling family's video apologies had become case studies in business schools nationwide. Harvard Business School used Madison's live stream in ethics courses. Stanford's MBA program analyzed Vivian's negotiation tactics. Montgomery Enterprises had benefited enormously from the publicity. 3 Fortune 500 companies had approached Vivian for partnership specifically because of her handling of the situation. Her company's stock price had increased 23% in 3 months. The anonymous discrimination reporting system at Sterling Development had received 67 complaints in its first quarter, not about new incidents, but historical ones that employees finally felt safe reporting. Each complaint was investigated thoroughly and resolved with corrective action. Dr. Johnson, the new Sterling Development CEO, had implemented weekly diversity training and created mentorship programs pairing senior executives with junior minority employees. Company culture surveys showed a 340% improvement in employee satisfaction. The scholarship program had exceeded expectations. Students were graduating with degrees in engineering, business, and law, many specifically citing the Sterling incident as motivation to succeed despite discrimination. Local news had followed several scholarship recipients. Jasmine Washington, studying electrical engineering at Georgia Tech, said, "That video showed me what I'm fighting against, but it also showed me that smart, powerful responses work better than anger." The legal ramifications continued rippling through corporate America. 17 companies had updated their ethics clauses to include family member conduct provisions. The Sterling Amendment had become standard language in major contracts. Vivian had spoken at 3 congressional hearings about corporate accountability and discrimination. Her calm, data-driven testimony had impressed lawmakers across party lines. Systemic change requires systematic consequences, she'd told the House Subcommittee on Corporate Responsibility. Individual accountability creates cultural transformation. At the 6-month mark, Vivian received a handwritten letter from Richard Sterling. His penmanship was shaky, his words carefully chosen. "Ms. Montgomery, I know words cannot undo our actions or excuse our behavior, but I wanted you to know that our family is different now. My granddaughter is learning Spanish and volunteering at an immigrant services center. She says she wants to help people the way Ms. Montgomery helped Grandpa learn. The children understand what we did wrong in ways we never taught them. They're better than we were. Thank you for giving us the chance to become better, too." Vivian filed the letter in her desk drawer. Redemption was possible, but it required genuine work and sustained commitment. The Sterling family had lost their fortune, their status, and their comfortable ignorance. In return, they'd gained something more valuable: the opportunity to contribute positively to a world they'd once helped divide. Madison's final live stream from that night remained online as a permanent reminder. The comments section had become a discussion forum about privilege, accountability, and second chances. Real change, Vivian reflected, happened one transformed heart at a time. Even billionaires could learn, when the lesson was expensive enough. 1 year later, Madison's original live stream had become the most watched corporate accountability video in internet history. 73 million views, 2.4 million shares, translated into 23 languages. The hashtag Sterling Accountability had sparked a global movement. From boardrooms in Tokyo to conference halls in London, executives now understood that privilege without responsibility had consequences. Vivian Montgomery had been named Time magazine's Person of the Year. Not for destroying a family, but for demonstrating that quiet power could create lasting change. Her calm response to vicious racism had become a masterclass taught in business schools worldwide. The ripple effects continued expanding. 12 major corporations had revised their ethics policies. The Montgomery Standard had become shorthand for corporate accountability measures. Companies competed to demonstrate their commitment to inclusive leadership. Sterling Development, under diverse management, had become more profitable than ever. Dr. Johnson's leadership had improved employee retention by 67% and increased project efficiency by 34%. The scholarship program had grown to $300 million, funded by the company's increased profits. Most remarkably, the Sterling family had found purpose in their fall from grace. Richard worked as a diversity consultant, sharing his story with other executives. His presentations were brutally honest about privilege and prejudice. Catherine managed the scholarship program full-time, her society connections redirected toward fundraising for education. Her transformation from entitled socialite to dedicated advocate had inspired countless others. Madison's social media presence had evolved into genuine activism. Her 800,000 followers engaged with content about racial justice, economic inequality, and corporate responsibility. She'd found her voice by first losing her platform. Preston had been rehired at Sterling Development as a junior project manager. He worked alongside construction crews, earning respect through competence rather than inheritance. His trust fund remained frozen by choice. He preferred earning his own way. These black stories, these real-life stories of transformation and accountability, had resonated worldwide. Touching stories of redemption proved that even the most privileged could learn, grow, and contribute positively to society. The annual Montgomery Foundation Gala now celebrated progress rather than wealth. The same ballroom where the Sterling family had humiliated themselves hosted discussions about economic justice and corporate responsibility. Vivian's opening speech each year included the same message. Change happens when consequences meet consciousness. Power without purpose is just privilege. Purpose without power is just poetry. But when they combine, transformation becomes possible. The scholarship recipients had begun graduating. Engineers, lawyers, doctors, and business leaders who might never have had opportunities without that viral moment of accountability. Dr. Jasmine Washington, now a successful electrical engineer, kept a framed screenshot from Madison's live stream in her office. This reminded me that intelligence and grace defeat ignorance and hatred, she told visitors. The story had become legend, but the lessons remained urgent. Every day, in conference rooms and country clubs, people faced choices between prejudice and progress. Vivian Montgomery had shown the world that true power lies not in domination, but in transformation. Not in destroying enemies, but in creating allies. Not in revenge, but in reform. Her legacy wasn't the Sterling family's downfall. It was their rise from ignorance to understanding. The most powerful response to hatred wasn't anger. It was accountability. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace or community? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your voice matters and could inspire someone else's courage to speak up. If this story moved you, subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more real-life stories of quiet strength, overcoming loud prejudice. Together, we can hold power accountable and create the change our world desperately needs. Share this video to remind others that every action has consequences, and every person deserves dignity.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.